back to No, I'm Just a Worm. In this week's episode, we're talking about cancel culture, which, if you have not heard of it before, it is an instance where we'll talk about it at least in the first half of it,
Yeah.
of the episode, talking about in reference to celebrities, which is like I think is like the easiest way to grasp cancel culture, where
And the
let
impact.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's say a celebrity does something uncouth or something that the general populace does not agree with, people will vow to essentially unsubscribe to them, stop buying their products, just boycott them in general, which has all sorts of different effects and everything. But it's not just in relation to celebrities and their lives and everything like that, but it has to do with other
Really
other.
anything. I mean, I feel like we've gotten to the point where it's gotten so out of hand. Because there was an article that I read on Vox.com. I'm gonna look up the author, but they made up a lot of good points where it can be social media can be a great platform for minorities or people who typically have been silenced easily. So they can kind of call out or, quote unquote, cancel those who have done wrong. So whether that be a racial slur, a homophobic slur, whatever the case may be. I mean, typically for certain groups, it's kind of dismissed, like them being a victim or them being hurt by certain activities or actions, I should say, just kind of are swept under the rug, where this kind of gives them the ability to be like, fuck you. Like, you need, like, this needs to be brought to light and you need to be corrected for what you've done and understand. Everyone else needs to know, like, it's kind of shitty what you're doing. But it's gotten to that point now where there is no room for education. There is no room to have a conversation about what they did was wrong. It's just immediately judged by one moment, sometimes which is edited for your point of view.
Yes, like that. I feel like that's not just a that doesn't just play into this whole cancel culture thing, but I think it's a problem with like journalism in general now. It's where like anyone can call themselves a journalist and like write an article about something, and they have like clickbaity titles to their articles, and it's just it's biased writing, and it's kind of writing that goes for blood with a lot of this stuff too, and it
Yeah.
kind of goes with the intent of someone getting just the shit end of the stick at the end of it.
Yeah. So, but I think it has a good purpose. And I think the start of it, it held some validity and it had a really good point to, hey, listen, like, we're in a time now where there's this mass media that everyone has access to, so no one can be silenced. And now we can, excuse me, now we can start addressing these things without it being swept under the rug.
Yeah,
So it's going to make it past the editor's desk. It's going to make it past the C-suite because it's just everyday people with a decent social media like following that can just put this message out there and be like, you know what, I've been done wrong by XYZ person who maybe had the money to silence a certain people or kind of get it hush hushed. So now like there kind of is no hiding, I guess, with it. Which again, like, has definitely served a great purpose. I think it helped hugely with the Me Too movement. It helped a lot with Harvey Weinstein. It helped a lot with the victims for Bill Cosby and like some of those other big name instances where there is no question about it. Like, what happened was wrong. It needs to be brought to justice. There needs to be a conversation about it. But then you start to get into like all these little ones who are it's like, this guy tweeted something mean 20 years ago.
yeah, like it. I feel like people are kind of they're using and abusing it for like the wrong reasons, and it turns into like people that cry wolf kind of situation, where or like mountains out of molehills, where like people don't get a chance to explain themselves. They don't get a chance to like you had brought up. You don't really get a chance to apologize for things that had happened, X amount of years ago. And like you, obviously, people grow and learn from mistakes and everything like that. It's not like people are the same as they were when they were teenagers. They're not the same as they were when they were in their 20s or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So you can't really hold them accountable now for things that they had said then, especially if they have since apologized. and try to right the wrong
Right.
that had happened then. Like if they're still carrying on with the same like bullshit attitude, then maybe yeah, try to like be like,
That's
hey, maybe you should change your behavior. Like you're old enough to fucking know better.
yeah. Like I mean, I think it's I don't know. I think some of the stuff should speak for itself. Like if someone is dug something up that happened freaking 5 years ago, some plus years ago, and that's all you can find. It's just there's one or two foot and mouth or off color kind of jokes or just something that was just kind of shitty but happened once. It doesn't speak to their entire character.
Yeah.
If you're looking at their behavior and their character before that, after that, and it just kind of doesn't line up. Like we're human, like we're gonna make mistakes. And like I said, I mean, I know like one of the more popular ones was Kevin Hart had posted some homophobic tweets or
Yes. Yeah.
tweets
Tweets.
a few years ago. Like it wasn't leading up to the Oscars, it wasn't a couple months before if I remember correct. It was years ago.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. I like just long enough for and like we've come so long, like so far I should say in the last 20 years, like since the new millennium. Sorry, we've passed millennia.
We've done stuff with time.
Yes. Anyway, we're past 2000. We survived Y2K, and the way that we talk about LGBTQ and everything has come a long way since then.
Yeah.
And it's not just people changing their rhetoric and like the higher ups, like when it comes to like New York Times and all that kind of stuff. It's like everyone's kind of changing their rhetoric. So
Yeah.
and some people might be slow to change than others, but it's not like I do not look at Kevin Hart and think of him as like that guy hates gays.
Yeah, no. And I mean, God, Kevin Hart has made a lot of mistakes, mainly against his poor wife. But I really don't. Yeah, I don't look at him and I think he's a homophobe. I think homophobic. I mean, what he said, was it inappropriate? Was it off color? Absolutely. Does that, like I said, make him an entirely bad person or, hate the LGBTQ community? No, I don't. And again, I kind of feel like I almost feel like it was too convenient that like leading up to him reaching a milestone in his career to be like one of the first comedians to host the Oscars, let alone a black comedian. And all of a sudden, conveniently,
Yeah.
oh my God, look at this twist that happened 5 years ago. Who the fuck is getting paid to look this stuff up and why? And like, if that's your concern, obviously, like you want to vet who you're having host like this massive production. Like, why not look into that before you said, hey,
Yeah.
can you host the fucking Oscars?
And it's not like literally no one is perfect. You could look closely enough, you put anyone under a microscope, no one's going to come out looking pristine.
No.
And I feel like when people are looking for dirt, they're going to find it and they're going to use it no matter what.
Yeah, but I guess, like I said, though, I mean, in certain cases like that, and it's in certain examples, like why? You know what I mean? Like, was it somebody that had something against him that was
someone, I think,
somebody
someone
who
had
knew
an
that
agenda.
he tweeted those or something like that and was like, no, I'm going to dig this stuff up and like leak it out there. And, and again, I think some people would argue of like, well, no, like that should have been done because what he said was wrong and he shouldn't be celebrated as a comedian or allowed to progress in his career based off of 3 tweets.
Yeah, like people take the cancel culture way, way too far. Like they've sent death threats and stuff like that when it comes to people that they want to cancel. People are fucking vicious, man.
Yeah.
Especially when they have the anonymity of a keyboard.
Yeah.
Hiding behind a keyboard, they are fucking vicious.
Yeah, but I guess like and I think some of like the debate with cancel culture too is like, is it even worth it? Does it even work? When it comes to the celebrity world, because there's gonna still be people out there who support them regardless of what they do to a certain extent. So it's like, you can have this big uproar about it and you can hashtag cancel Kevin Hart or hashtag cancel whoever, but they're still here. They're still doing what they do. Like they're not, you know what I mean? Like they're not going to go bankrupt like in a couple months because this one thing happened. That's not that big, but but then another point was because that was kind of my argument. I was like, listen, fucking Kevin Hart has this new documentary on the HBO, like kind of going over his career over the past couple years and introducing like the people that he's worked with and his family and all this other stuff. And I'm like, so clearly, like
He's okay.
he's okay. I did bad. I did, I done bad. I did not watch the whole series as I got very much annoyed with the I'm sorry I slept with somebody else. Oops, a couple months later, I'm sorry I slept with somebody else. Not like fucking kidding me. And I think at one point during the documentary, he
Wait,
was like,
he slept with so many different people?
I think like once or twice. I think the one that was brought up in the documentary was like one of his close friends, like video, like I don't know if he realized what was going on, but like videoed him and this other girl having sex. But try to blackmail him. Like did it intentionally to blackmail
Oh
him.
fuck.
Yeah, it didn't go well for either party, obviously.
The
But
person taking the video and Kevin Hart?
yeah, because
Well,
he like Kevin Hart didn't know it was him, and then he sent like I think some weird email with it trying to extort him for money and all this other
this guy was
shit.
supposed to be his friend?
Yep. Yeah, they went over like they interviewed
Wow.
Kevin and then they interviewed like his childhood friends and stuff that tour with him, his entourage that have known him forever, and yeah, it was somebody that he had known for like 20 plus years.
What the fuck,
Yeah.
dude?
So it was just, I mean, was his behavior bad? Did he fuck up? Yes. Yes, he did. But still as like a friend to be
To extort
extort
him
him,
for
yeah.
money?
I mean, I think that's a conversation to be like, hey, like, what you doing? You got this great wife and like kid on the way. Like, what are you doing? Not like, I can get money from this motherfucker. Like, what?
How do you call yourself a friend when you're gonna do? Wow, what a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about both of them, but like,
Well,
I don't know who, like, which one's worse.
Well, I think the thing that got like on my nerves is like leading up to this incident. He goes over like introducing all of his friends and how long they've known each other, and like, he has his barber with him, and then some of his friends are comedians, and I guess like night of he wanted to fly out to Vegas that weekend because like he's got it like that. Now, obviously, like he always like. You don't got the money, whatever. Like, just get on the fucking plane. We're going to Vegas. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, like, he's always got his friends like that. But his friends are like, I got a wife, and you let me know like in an hour before we like, no, I can't go. Like, no.
I have work in the morning.
Yeah. But I guess Kevin kind of like he's like, what I did was wrong, and I need to own up to that, and I need to do better, and like, blah blah blah. But I didn't have my crew with me. I didn't have my boys with me. And I'm like, so you're going to sit there and kind of throw it on like a group of other people because
What
you
the
can't
fuck,
control
dude?
yourself and not drink to the point where,
Like, you can keep your dick in your pants, and that's your crew's fault because they weren't there.
right. Like, so that kind of, like, I was okay with like, and that was like 3 episodes in.
Oh my god!
And then I was like, nah, all right, I'm done with you. Fuck you. Like, this is ridiculous. Grow the fuck up.
I cancel you.
But apparently, at the end of the series, though, it led up to what had happened of him backing out of hosting the Oscars because of these tweets, but it also shed a different light that I don't think we think about or discuss is the backlash that could have on those around him. So I guess he had lost like a ton of sponsorships. I think he was supposed to do something with Nike. They pulled that. He was supposed to do a couple things, I think, with charity work. They pulled him for that. There's like a bunch of stuff, but based on all those things that he had lined up in these contracts, is X amount of money revenue coming in and X amount of revenue that's coming to the staff he's hired to help him with these projects that he can no longer do now because that money was pulled. So now you have affected the livelihood and jobs of other people that aren't making millions of dollars like he is.
Yeah, so you're not just like shitting on Kevin Hart, you're shitting on his staff.
Right.
But like you said, Kevin Hart's making millions still from other projects and everything like that, but like his staff is like dependent on whatever he's going to pay them.
Right.
So like what the fuck?
Yeah, and there were staff members who left. They left his employment. Like they were either just flat out was just like, that's fucked up. Like, how could you say something like that? I know the one woman was a lesbian, but she had known him for an extremely long time. Was close with him and his family, been over the house for many dinners, stuff like that. And she's like, listen, I can't I can't stay under your employment and save face and true to like who I am and who my community is. So I mean it definitely affected other people around him that were close to him, not just him.
Yeah.
And that was something I was like, oh shit, like I never thought about that. Like that's not something I ever considered. And I'm sure for him, like I will say during this documentary, like I don't think he doesn't take care of his people that work for him. So I'm sure he probably tried to help them out however he could, or found other projects that he's working on that they could do with him, whatever the case may
Yeah.
be. Vouch for them for other work, but I think like we set our beady red eyes on the kill,
Yeah.
and we don't think about anything else.
Yeah, you kind of get like tunnel vision with that kind of stuff where like you said, you hone in on the target and then, but it's kind of like instead of pinpointing a target, you're kind of just like throwing a grenade that's going to have shrapnel.
Right.
Like it has like nails and shit. Like, and it's going to hit more than just your target.
Yeah.
So it's, that's the dangerous thing with cancel culture is it's not just affecting the person that you're trying to target. It's going to affect their loved ones around them and everything like that too. Like there have been several, because I watched a couple different like YouTubers and stuff, and there's always some kind of YouTube drama going on, and people trying to cancel this, that, and the other thing, blah blah blah, blah. And like whatever they get backlash for, but obviously they're still standing because they had millions of followers before the fallout, and then they still like they might lose thousands of followers or whatever from people trying to collectively like be like no we should unsubscribe and
Right.
stuff like that, and
Yeah.
it's just like obviously if you lose followers you lose views, and if you lose
Lose
views
views, you
then
lose
you
money,
yeah
and
money and blah 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 blah. So like it does affect them, but you're still going to have like a lot of people that are not going to cancel you, or who
right.
might not be paying attention to the whole drama that's going on. And I feel like that's why, like, not everyone is on the same page. You're going to
No.
have different factions on different pages. So you'll have one faction that's going to cancel you, and you're going to have another faction that's going to support you, and you're going to have another faction that doesn't even know what the fuck is going on.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's one of the reasons why I don't think cancel culture really works, is because you are not going to get everyone in your audience or whoever your target like you're reaching out to, or
Yeah.
whoever is paying attention. Like not everyone's going to be on the same page, and
No.
that's just
I think in the extreme, like I said, in extreme cases, like unforgivable cases, everyone can get on the same page.
Michael Vick
Yeah, like Michael Vick, Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, like the
in the closet.
like the
I will still, although this is slightly unrelated, still love the remix to Ignition. I'm sorry, but I'm also not sorry.
it's
It's hot and fresh out the
same.
kitchen.
I think it's everyone's guilty pleasure, and I think like out of all of the actors have been called out for like really creepy incidences, and like Kevin Spacey is still my guilty pleasure.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I don't feel the same when but like American Beauty is one of my favorite
I
movies.
know you kind of like you'll be like, oh, and I got to make sure that the blinds are
That-
closed and everything like that. No one can know that we're watching Kevin Spacey.
Like, and I almost I haven't watched anything since all of this stuff came out. And I think the last show that I was watching with him in it that I loved was House of Cards on Netflix. Like that
Yeah.
fucking show was like, oh, it was so good. And then and I was like, I can't finish watching this.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. But then now that it's been some time, and I'm like,
I feel
he's
like I
fucking lost. Like, I mean, for one thing, he's lost his fucking shit. Like,
yeah, yeah.
just oh yeah, oh yeah, like completely like try to go off the rails, like underground, quiet. And then there was like some reports. I was like, I don't know if it was just bullshit, rumblings, whatever. But there were some weird like reports last year that he checked himself in for I think like sex addiction, And then I think
What?
yeah. And then the poor gentleman who had, come up with hey, he was like sexually harassed me and inappropriately touched me. And I think a whole bunch of other stuff. He passed away. I don't know what happened,
Oh
but basically the
no.
courts were kind of like, we don't really have your star witness. There's really nobody else that, like, yeah. So I don't really know what happened.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with the case, but not long after that, like he posted this weird video as Frank Underwood, like on YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just he lost his fucking mind. Like he got really, really bizarre and really creepy. So like
Well,
out of this past year of all like
well, did you see like some of the I don't know if it was like an interview, I forget who the interview was with, but it was R. Kelly like freaking the fuck out. Like, this is my life.
oh yeah.
Like he's screaming and like whoever I wish who was it that was interviewing him and she's just like no reaction. No reaction. Just, calm, so cool, so just like bitch, you don't bother me. And
Right.
like R. Kelly, comparatively,
Right.
R. Kelly, well, he's a fucking lunatic anyway, but like he looks unhinged.
Probably. I mean, he is
Like, but you could see it, and
unraveling,
especially,
like,
yeah,
yeah,
and especially comparing to her, where she was just like
stone
nonplussed,
wall.
unfazed, just like I'm gonna wait for this child to stop having a tantrum, and then I'll get back to my interview.
She probably had to like mentally prepare herself that like this could happen. And
Yeah.
I can't imagine anyone like, yes, I want to do this interview. She's
Yeah,
probably like,
it's kind
fuck,
of
I gotta do this interview.
like god damn it, it's like going into a war zone, but like we're right here in this hopefully not closet. In the closet.
But
Oh, I'm
yeah,
a bad person.
no, we both are. Oh, cancel us. No.
You can't cancel us because we only have 3 followers.
Yeah. Cancel that bitch.
That would mean we will both have to stop. I'm sorry. We have our own fun.
Yes, yes. Good, good.
Good, good. Let the hate flow through you.
I swear to God, I feel like that's maybe subconsciously what's happening online when people start to like shame others and like troll and stuff. It's just
Yes.
somebody in a hooded cloak. That was just good, good. Yes, yes.
They're just palpatining it.
Yep. Hardcore, like just channeling it with the music and everything.
Now Palpatine's now a verb. They're palpatining.
They're palpitating. It's a good thing. We're creating new trends here. You're palpitating.
Hashtag palpatining.
No, but I don't know. I mean, like I said, I think it started out as a necessary movement, like I said, to let people know that there are consequences for their actions. In an industry that you can get away with so much, now has turned into little minor things that have happened here and there that are people are like, that one sentence that you said or that one moment was so incredibly offensive that like you need to lose your job now.
Yeah, and I think what it should be used for is to start a conversation, get a discussion going, instead of like we got to bring it back from the brink of like
Mob mentality and
yes, and
just
bring it back to
put away your pitchforks.
yes, yes, and all of our podcasts are coming full circle. But yeah, like it shouldn't be like this firing squad of fury. It should really be like, okay, what you said I find offensive and the general public finds offensive. So let's talk about like
Why it
why,
is, yeah.
and let's talk about how like do you really feel that way? If you do, why? Like it just I feel like there's no compassion anymore with a
Yeah.
lot of with a lot of people, and when it comes to like people like celebrity statuses. I think especially like whether it's like they're a movie star or whether they're YouTube, like they're a fucking influencer and all that kind
Oh
of shit.
God, I hate
Like
it.
I really do hate that word, but like it, let's call it like a spade, but whatever. Like it's I feel like I had said before that people feel very brave when they have that anonymity of like hiding behind a keyboard. So I feel like it also kind of makes them dehumanize people on YouTube, like influencers or whatever, or celebrities and stuff like that. Like, and this isn't new, like celebrities getting stalked by people and
No, God, no, it's been
like with
happening forever.
paparazzi and all that kind of shit like that. But like, I think especially now with social media being like this huge juggernaut that it is, like people really do just take the human aspect out of life a lot of the times and they just forget what it is to be compassionate.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stop with celebrities and like what are some of the examples that you'd read in the article about like regular human beings, the plebes as you will.
So it's bringing up, and I mean, again, this is nothing new. I mean, people have been doing this for years now. But as far as getting a job, not all employers do this. Like your average employer probably isn't going to fucking go through the rigor of going through someone's like social media page. But if you're getting a higher end job, if you're going to a higher end Ivy League school like Harvard, things of that nature, they're starting to dig back on your social media pages, Twitter, whatever,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
kind of gauge your character.
They did warn us against that when I was doing the classes for IT. They warned us because they would have career services talk to us and people and like different advisors talk to us saying like, okay, well, you're gonna make a LinkedIn, but make sure that it's like a professional photo, like not a photo of you drinking or anything like that, because there have been some companies that'll go
Yep.
through, and if you have like a Facebook or anything like that, they'll go through and blah 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 blah. And it's just like,
And I mean,
dude, really?
obviously, like, oh yeah, and I mean, I get like on Facebook stuff, like you can put your privacy status up to like fucking max, where
Yeah,
like they're hardly gonna see anything,
they see your like your profile photo and that's it.
right? But there's still the potential there for them to dig through basically almost every aspect of your life if they can, to get up in your personal business to gauge what your character is on social media when it's like most of what we post is fucking fake. Like
Yes,
it's not real.
which is
And
for another topic.
whole
It's
nother topic.
another episode that we're planning, but
But and I mean, especially like, oh God, if you're applying to a freaking college or if you're like right out of college applying for something and that's the time of life they decide to look into,
you can't judge me based on what I did in college,
I
okay?
saw.
God, like I'm not that same person.
But
I don't even know who she is
oh,
anymore.
I mean, like, thank God, me and social media. I'm like Facebook. I hardly ever use that. I use that for like fucking memes.
She's a
That's
grandma,
I seriously am. Like, I have
okay?
a fucking Instagram account. I can't even tell you what it is or the last time I
She
was on
forgot her
there.
password.
I did. And my log. Like, I don't know. I don't know anything. Like, literally nothing. I don't
I
understand.
I tag you in things just to enter giveaways.
You fucking serious?
Yes, I do. So be like, hey, all you have to do to enter this giveaway is to like this post and tag a friend.
I swear to God, if I find out that you win something by tagging me in it and I don't know about it or am not, like, I don't get something from this, I'm gonna be really pissed. So if I see all of a sudden that you're going to Rome or Bahamas out of
No, it's
nowhere,
like fucking makeup shit. If it were
so if
like,
I notice that you're all of a sudden,
I buy fucking
yeah, I know
shit tons of makeup.
there's no telling where you got that shit from.
You don't know, bitch.
I'm gonna know now because I'm gonna dig through all your fucking social media now like a creeper. So I know
Are
every
you?
ad.
You're
No,
gonna have to
fuck
figure.
no. Yeah.
I'm gonna do that. Piece of
No,
shit.
but somebody like for me, like God forbid, I think I got Facebook in 2008. So I got Facebook when I got back from my trip from Ireland. It was a class trip in college that we had taken. So everyone was like, why are you still on MySpace? Like,
Hey,
yeah. Like you got to get on Facebook. You got to get on Facebook. Like we'll share
you're
pictures and
not in
stuff
my
like
top
that.
8.
Yeah, I know. People are like, they posted something on my wall. I'm like, what is a wall? What does that mean?
Sometimes she still asks me that.
Shut up. So I signed up for it. There really wasn't too much that I posted. Like I didn't go crazy with it, and like most of the pictures and stuff at the time were like of my dog, basically like they are now, and then just trips of Ireland. And then most of my friends and stuff like that were friends from back home because I had moved so many different times, and that was kind of it. But God forbid if I use social media, and including like my MySpace, like way back then, the way that people do now, I wouldn't have a job. If people were looking into it,
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have friends. Like I did a lot of shady shit back then, and like I was a
She
complete.
does some shady shit now.
And it's
You
not
should
that.
see her.
Shut up. No, I did. I was like when they say, "Oh, I wasn't the same person," back like I literally was not the same person. Back in like my teens and my early 20s that I
Oh
am
yeah.
now. Like literally, you wouldn't recognize me or believe half the stories I could tell you. So thank God, like nobody has really asked nobody, and if they were to look into it online, like you're not going to find anything. But you know, just based off of that, like I would have been judged on basically actions that I had done through my addiction, and that's not me. Like that's just not me. That's not who I am, and I've absolutely learned a lot from those experiences and changed for the better. But if somebody were to look at actions that I had done, you know, almost 20 years ago, I'd be screwed. Like I would be completely screwed, and especially if you're gonna do the immediate like snapshot, fuck you, like you're a messed up person, I don't want to hear it, and not give me a chance to like tell my story and be like, listen, like if you still don't want to give me a chance, I guess I understand, that's fine, but like you know that's not me. And if you look at current stuff that I'm gonna post and actually look into that, like you can tell like I'm not the same person anymore. But
Yeah.
no one's gonna like no one is gonna take the chance to do that. Like the second that they find something wrong, that is who you are for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't post the same shit. Like, I have that Time Hop app that show like if you link it to like your Facebook, your Instagram, Google Photos, and stuff like that. It'll you can even like have it attached to your like your texts and shit, which I would be like, you ain't doing that.
No.
But like, so it'll say like, whatever you linked it to, it'll show you what you did or what you posted or whatever on this day last year or this day like 5 years ago or whatever. So if you've posted a lot of stuff, like you'll be like fucking flipping through all that shit every day to see what you posted. And I made some weird ass fucking statuses like a few years ago on Facebook, and now I post very rarely on Facebook anymore. Mostly it would like if I did it would be poll related, but I've been out. I haven't really been doing a lot of poll recently, but like even before then, like I don't really, unless it's like animal related or like meme related, like
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. I don't really post a lot of stuff. And it's like, but if you were to judge me on the shit that I posted, even before Steve and I got together, like
Yeah.
it was some crazy shit. Well, not crazy shit, but it was just like,
Makes you wonder, like,
yeah, like
she's stable. No, I'm kidding.
yeah. I mean, no, but honestly, it made me seem like I, uh,
I look at back some of like the Facebook has like the memory thing that pops up.
yeah,
So I'll scroll through that sometimes and like Jesus, a lot of it's, you know, dog, dog, penny, penny, dog, penny, cat, whatever.
yeah.
And then I complain a lot. Like a lot. Like an obnoxious amount. Like I'm either miserable and I'm pissed off at something or I'm sick.
I was never gonna tell you.
Why wouldn't you tell me that?
It seemed like you liked posting it, so I'm not gonna tell you how to live your life.
You could like be like, hey, is life that fucking bad? Because it's not.
Well,
It's not.
well, the thing is, like,
Jesus.
I hung out with you in person, and so I knew that like you were okay. You know what I mean?
It was okay.
Oh
Like
my
I'm
God.
kidding.
Cancel her. Then. But like I interact, and that's the thing. That's the thing though. Like will bring this up again, but like social media is fake. So even though like you posted this shit, it probably like a, a moment of
This,
like,
yeah,
holy shit, like I'm fucking frustrated, or like you were,
Sudafed induced haze.
yeah, and that's like a snapshot in time.
Yeah.
So like it's immortalized on the internet forever. Like you, as many people have found out, like you, like once it's on the internet, it's on the internet. Like you can't really get rid of that.
Yeah.
But you're gonna look back at these memories and be like, holy shit, is that what I really was? Was that me?
Yeah.
Like you look at it and think like, oh my god, I complained so much. Oh my god, like I was sick so much, blah blah blah. But like, excuse me, like that's not. I don't.
That's not me as a
I
whole. Like
yeah,
that's
like
just
I knew
that's an
you as an actual
afternoon.
person, like, and I interacted with you in person, so like I knew that that's not. You're not 24/7 bitching in real life about, you know,
Everything.
this, that, and the other thing. It's not like that's not you. But I feel like because a lot of people feel like they have this platform where they can kind of, in a way, like, it's almost like therapy.
Oh, as far as like them just venting about what's yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean I think absolutely. I mean there's so many different ways that you can use social media. Whether God, most of it anymore, I think, is, marketing for yourself or marketing for your product or what you're trying to do. I think like the every average day person is just going to share stuff that they like. Especially if you have family that's kind of spread across the country or the world, keeping in touch with them, seeing what they're up
Yeah.
to, sharing pictures, stuff like that. I know initially that was why I kept Facebook for so long because I have so many family members that are like kind of, blipped around everywhere. But, yeah, so I mean, I do. I think it is kind of like an idea of just like venting some of your frustrations throughout the day or venting some of your frustrations with society, which is fine. But like you said, I mean, I think people forget that this does not make an entire character of a person. This is not all who they are.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like people can put their best foot forward on social media, but also they can like show like some of their weakest moments
yeah,
and without realizing it. And it's they're just using it kind of like as like a soundboard, but they're not thinking of like, obviously who would? They're not thinking of like the long-term quote consequences of making a status of like, oh my god, like my job sucks or blah blah blah
no.
blah, and then you're applying for a job X amount of years down the road, and they're like, well, you know, back in June of 2003, you posted about the fact that you hate your job so much. Is that the kind of employee that you're going to be here at, you know, X, Y, and Z place?
Or if you're posting like a ton of pictures of just you going out and having fun and just,
Is this the kind of person you are? A fun loving We
yeah.
cannot have that here.
Do you drink every day? Every day? Is that all are you at the beach every day just slamming back 40? Like no.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
I always feel like, side note though, I always feel like super self conscious whenever like I'm at the doctor. They're like, "So do you drink?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." They're like, "Every day?" I'm like, "Well, like maybe a nightcap, but I'm not like
Yeah.
shooting them back." But like, they make you feel like a
They
criminal.
do. They make you feel guilty, and I think in my profession I'm just like immediately like I might have 24 ounces in a weekend. Once or twice a month, maybe. Do you want to know how often I drink? How many glasses of water I drink in between each drink? Like, really? Sorry, those are questions that I ask in my job.
Sometimes she gets into work mode and she'll ask me those things.
Like when you said that you had a beer and there were when you said you only had 3 beers, what size beers did you have?
Yeah,
That
they
sometimes
were growlers.
sometimes
Okay.
throws people's off where they're like, oh fuck, they finally asked. They're the tall boys. Shit.
It was a growler, okay? I had three of them.
But no, I mean seriously, I think the amount of times that people are on social media and how much what's the word I'm looking for? like how much stake that they put in to social media and the information that's out there, not just to gather information to be educated, but to gather information on a person. We're just moving farther and farther and farther into not having just appropriate human interactions, just like one on one, like actually in person, in reality, just genuine human connections.
Yeah.
It's all through social media anymore. And this is when you start to get those muddy waters of, misunderstanding how you read a post because there is no inflection and there is no tone to it.
Yeah,
And
like you
like,
cannot tell context when it's text.
yeah, yeah. So it's just, I don't know. It's just, you really don't know who a person is and everything that's going on in their life and how they're feeling and what they're thinking and, what's going on with family members that may be affecting them in their jobs, like just by the occasional meme that they post or, something that they're just going to kind of vent for a little bit, whether that be happy or sad. You can't,
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes like, when people post stuff online, I'm kind of, and it's, kind of like a what the fuck were they thinking about posting that? I'm like, did you see what time of day they posted it?
Yeah.
Like, was it like 2 in the morning? Because that should raise some red flags of like what's going on in their life. Like,
Yeah. Like why are they doing that? Are they sad at 2 in the morning? Yeah.
yeah, like
But
not too
it's
many reasons why you're up at 2 a.m.
yeah. And like you have a lot of people kind of like how I said before, like they put their best foot forward and they show their best self. And it's it's just it's a constant misrepresentation of who people are
Yeah,
because you it's literally just like vague highlights of each person's life on
yeah,
social media. Like
yep,
you don't know everything. And you like to be fair, like the same thing is like when you actually like meet people in person, you don't know everything about their life when you first meet them. So like you could just kind of make a snap judgment
right,
in person and be like, "Oh man, that person is a piece of shit because, they did X, Y, and Z like they were kind of like standoffish or like they were kind of brusque with me and blah blah blah." But like they could have had like a really rough day. Like they could have just gotten done with like, dealing with their like a family member in the hospital, blah blah
an
blah.
argument
Like
with a spouse before they left.
yeah,
Kids
like
are
you
driving a month, they don't want to go to school, and it's like trying to just get out the house, get out the house, just go.
yeah, like you don't know what's going on in a person's life, so you always should act with compassion, but that shouldn't stop with just a one-on-one in-person interaction. That should be all the time. And almost like especially when it comes to online because you cannot tell, like I said, like we had discussed before,
Yeah,
you cannot tell context when it comes to text or like an online status or whatever or like an update. You just you never know. There
right.
was like kind of going off of that topic. There's a YouTuber that I watch. Her name is Sam Ravendall, and she has like interesting videos that I do enjoy of hers. So she kind of did like an Instagram versus reality video where she
Mm,
was like she showed you the posts that she had done on her Instagram and she was like, okay, so this is the post that I had, and this is what was kind of going on behind the scenes, and not just talking about like, oh, like we'll use like this kind of wardrobe, blah blah blah. They use
right,
this kind of lens. It was literally like, my boyfriend and I were fighting like nonstop before this, and like we were just like on the brink of breaking up, blah 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 blah. Like she went like in depth into like what was going on personally in her life while these photos were being taken. And they
right,
look like such glamorous photos because like she got a lot of followers on Instagram from doing different modeling things, and she does makeup on YouTube and everything like that. And so a lot of her photos look like fucking snatched, dude.
right,
Like they look great. But she's like, so, but she wanted to kind of highlight the fact that, like, these photos are just like, they're made to look extra good to kind of like hide the fact that, like, you went through all of this shit in
yeah,
real life. And it's just goes to show, like, it's all, it's all a facade. It's not real. So why would you base any kind of judgment on that.
Yeah, and I think some people's argument to that, on like these specific celebrity posts or posts that they've seen from, maybe some friends that they just met, and they do their own PI work and they dig through and see some of their posts and stuff like that. I think some of their arguments might be, well, like, why would you post that to begin with? Like, that's just wrong to say. Like, there is no excuse for having a homophobic tweet or having an off-color comment about race or going to war, stuff like that. It's if that's like your one slip up or something that's just going, like, what else? Clearly you're thinking about this, then more so than just that one time, and you should just know before posting, like, that's just something wrong to say. And I think that's where some of the argument through this cancel culture goes, when people try to like stick up for themselves and be like, listen, like, I didn't mean it like this, I meant it like that, or it's just something I wasn't thinking about at the time, as far as it like hurting someone's feelings or being taken too far. Especially like comedians are kind of getting accused of that all the time, of just, well, why the fuck would you think that's funny? Why would you think that's even remotely appropriate? Why wouldn't you think that this would offend certain people?
Yeah.
Like,
But
why
again,
aren't you like, like, I feel like it kind of goes back and forth to these extremes of, you absolutely shouldn't judge someone online. Like you said, it's a snapshot of their life. There is no human connection with it. There is no, you don't actually know these people. You need to actually spend time with people, like, face to face, and get to know them as a person fully. And then, there's this other side where it's, well, I have a right to stand up for myself and this is not okay. And that you're posting this to the masses and it's going to offend someone. And, I have the right to speak up for it. And so it's just kind of like this back and forth thing of like, you can't do anything without being wrong at some point. So, it's
yeah.
just like this, I got to walk on eggshells all the time for fear that I'm going to offend somebody. It's just, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous anymore.
Hmm.
Like,
You can't like I just I don't know. I feel like it's you also don't know because like it depends on people's upbringing as well. So like
yeah,
if they made a comment that like if they grew up in a culture where you know they or like they grew up in a household where like they made these kind of homophobic comments all the time, and they might not have necessarily like agreed with it, or they never knew it was wrong because that was how they were raised,
right.
like, and I'm not saying that's an excuse, but I'm saying like you still need to have like a
Yeah.
conversation about this. You need to be able to be like, hey, you know, it's why do you believe or why do you think that it's okay to make these kind of comments about, you know,
Why do you think people shouldn't be so offended by them? Like, even though
yeah,
you're saying that that's not something you really believe in, and well, if it's not something that you believe in, then why even say it to begin with?
yeah, and like I feel like I've kind of had like a lot of like so Steve and I have obviously come from like different backgrounds, or like he and I never would have met if it weren't for online dating, which I think is like probably even another
Yeah.
topic altogether, like a separate podcast. But because we did not run in the same circles, we still don't run in the same circles. But we found each other, we love each other, and everything like that. But like because we grew up so different, and we grew up with like different cultures and everything like that, like we almost have like a constant communication, a constant conversation about like all these different aspects of our relationship and all these different aspects of like, well, I believe blah 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 blah. And he's like, well, I believe blah blah blah, and then we have a conversation about it. Like I feel like that should be the case for everyone. It shouldn't just be like, oh, well, you're an asshole because you think this, blah, 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 blah. And then their response is like, well, I think you're an asshole because X, Y, and Z. Like,
Yeah.
it's, you know, people, not everyone's brought up in the same culture, not everyone has the same background. So you should just communicate.
Yeah. And I mean, through, like, if we start doing this and through this communication and maybe being a little bit more forgiving and being a little bit more, hey, listen, like, it was kind of a dick post, like, what was going through your head when you posted that, like, what was going on during that day.
Yeah.
It could still go either way. Like, if you end up asking those kind of questions and having those conversations and it turns out the guy's just kind of a dick, then the guy's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
But at least you can start to kind of weed through like who just messed up because they're human and like listen, have that conversation, educate them on why it upset you or it, could upset like a group of people. And I think most people will probably be open to having that conversation and being educated and move the fuck on with it.
Yeah. Like, I feel like I, I don't know. Like, it's always been a good conversation when you have a conversation. You know what I mean? Like that. Like when you
Usually,
just
yeah.
like when you communicate about certain things because you broaden your own horizons and they broaden theirs, and it's you get a better understanding of each other, and it kind of like brings you closer together. And I feel like that's kind of what we all need as a society, is just like we need to be closer. We need to be more compassionate to each other. We need to be like have this conversation about like everything.
Yeah.
Like,
And I think like with some of these bigger celebrity type instances, like there's always a conversation that starts, but it's never the right one.
yeah,
So it's a conversation of just again shaming, attacking the person who posted it. Some people just like you said go as far as not even allowing them to explain themselves of what's going on. It's just what, nope, they said it, they're done. Like screw them. I'm not. I'm unsubscribing to them. I'm not going to their movies anymore. I'm not buying their products anymore. And like literally, some people will sit down and be like, sometimes like it's just flat out fake. Like that didn't happen. They're like, no, no, no.
like if I
And
didn't see it, it didn't
happen.
happen.
Instead of having, like you said, a conversation of like, let's discuss why this is offensive.
Yeah.
Like let's discuss like where these kind of terms came from and how they can hurt and how to grow from it and move on from it or respond to it when someone says something offensive. It's a conversation of that individual, what they've done leading up to that, like their career, just everything but why it's upsetting almost.
Yeah.
And I think the article that I read, some of the examples and what we had brought up earlier is one of the reasons why in the celebrity world it doesn't work is that like you're giving them like free marketing and
Yeah. Free
free
advertising.
advertising. Yeah, it's like kind of it's no like press. You're giving them free press. Like any type of press
Yeah.
is good press. And they gave the example of Louis C.K., Kevin Hart. I think there was one other
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson, but I still don't remember why.
I don't know. I can't keep up because there's always some new scandal around the corner, and you're just like, really,
Yeah,
really?
but
Like, why are people getting bent out of shape about that? I don't know.
and not only are there, and I think that's one of the things too is like there's so many, and some of them are so petty or just like little instances that there's so much you forget about the ones that actually should have mattered. You know what I mean? So, and I think that's one of the reasons too why it doesn't really affect celebrities too much. Like in the long run, is because some new scandal is going to come up and you're going to forget about the old one and they're going to move on and then they're fine.
And then
Like,
you have the conspiracy theorists that are like, this is all to distract us from X, Y, like this thing and this thing.
yeah,
I think you know who I'm talking about.
yeah, I do. I know.
But, like, I, I just feel like all of these things, like with Kevin Hart and like with Scarlett Johansson, like the like you said, the smaller violations or whatever, they are fleeting,
Yeah.
and like they don't make the lasting impression that the Michael Vicks, the Bill Cosby's, and all that kind of stuff, like, because like I feel like there's more objective transgressions, and then not so, I mean, still kind of objective, but more or
Well, because
less subjective.
yeah, well, because I think what they did was like it was physical harm to another human being and or animal.
Yeah.
So this is like a criminal activity. It's a criminal activity that again has been hidden for so long, and this is kind of where social media and the cancel culture and calling someone out worldwide on all these platforms that your stuff can't be taken down and it's going to trend real quick and it's basically free news in a certain sense and free press is where it works.
Yeah, and that, like, I don't think that they can come back from that.
And they fucking shouldn't.
No, they shouldn't. And if they do, then I have lost all faith in humanity.
But I think those instances is where it works, and then where the appropriate conversations happen. You know what I mean? So having those conversations of, these experiences have happened to me too. Like, I have full empathy for you. Like, let me give you suggestions if you want on how I was able to get through it. Here are some resources. Like things of that nature. Like, but it shouldn't take these huge, like, without a shadow of a doubt, like, they fucked up. They're a bad human being. They need to be punished for it, and we need to keep this conversation going so we don't forget about it when the next travesty happens.
Because it's going to happen.
Yeah, and I think that's where, like, these trending conversations and cancel culture works. But it's gotta fucking stop with the little bullshit posts and tweets, and everyone goes up in arms about it. It's gotta stop because, it's, like I said, it's doing so much damage. Not to, and should, the person may be called out occasionally, maybe be educated, maybe be slapped on the wrist. Yeah, like, I mean, obviously, if it offends you, don't let it go. But don't take it to that point where, like you said, it's mob mentality and, like, we got our pitchforks out and we're gonna chase the guy up the fucking tower and set the building on fire.
I just don't know. I don't know why, with certain things, why people can't just see something that they might not like and just move on.
Right.
Like, I was always taught, and maybe not even specifically, but you hear it from everyone else, like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And, like, I kind of just always kept that because it was, like, I always adhered to that. It was never, oh my God, I almost died.
What are you doing over there?
I went to go, like, rest my arm, and it just shot out from under me.
That arm's had enough of you bullshit. Like, it's tired of your abuse.
It's canceling. But I like I feel like there's like an instigator when it comes to a lot of these cancel culture things that they like. There's someone that like calls, like, says like, no, you shouldn't be doing that, like, and then someone else is like, no, yeah, you definitely shouldn't be doing that, and then, like, more and more people like it gains traction, and then it's
Right.
like, and then it's like, yeah, and then everyone's just gonna, like, it's like lemmings all following each other, and you're like, what the fuck even happened? And but they're all caught in this cloud of like, yeah, well, we were just following that guy.
Yep. We're just following that guy, and then it's like the huge game of telephone.
Oh
Where it's just
God, the
like
worst game of
the
telephone.
truth starts down over here, and then by the time you get over here, where it's like trending,
Yeah,
and people like me finally start to catch on.
the
Like,
grandmas of the group.
there's so much, like, I'm like, I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to fucking believe because every goddamn article that I fucking open, it says something else or something slightly different. Or I'm just like, you know what? I don't. It's just all fake to me. It's just all bullshit that didn't even happen.
Yeah. I this is like what I've taken away from all of it is like what I use for anyone telling me anything. It's like there's three versions of the truth. There's his story, there's her story, and then there's the truth. Or variations thereof. Like,
Yeah.
there's three versions of every story. This person, blah 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 blah. Like, it's, and I kind of use that for any kind of, like, for reviews on products and stuff like that, where like this product could get like so many negative reviews, and then I try it out and I'm like, this is fucking great. Like,
Yeah.
I loved it. Like, I don't believe people. Like, I guess, like, I'm just like that skeptic that's like, I'm the Scully of life. So, like, I take everything with a grain of salt, and I will, I kind of like look at it and it's like, you know what? I'm going to try it out for myself. And then I can actually give, like, a full review.
Yeah.
I don't want to take anyone else's word for it because, you know, a lot of people don't know what the fuck they're talking about, or a lot of, like, there might be someone that's just like saying what they think people want to hear,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's just like, so I don't know. But I feel like that kind of plays into it as well, is people just like,
Just jumping on the bandwagon and just kind of going with, like you said, what's trending, what they want to hear, and I think, I mean, again, it's kind of
People like
hard.
being offended too.
What?
That's what it seems like anyway. So like people like being offended. They just like being outraged about something.
Yeah, well, I think it's those people who thrive in that drama and the negative attention. So it's like they
Yeah.
can't be comfortable with themselves. They can't be comfortable with being happy. They can't leave well enough alone. So like, yeah, they like to get caught up in that drama because they like to complain about something,
Yeah.
and they like to pick something apart.
There's so much negative energy. I can't do it. I'm not saying that like, ugh, like it's too much negative energy. I just can't live in that space. But like, no, really, I can't. Like it's exhausting. I like to do as little as possible. Whatever,
For
however
somebody
I
who
can.
says that, like the amount of stuff that you fucking do.
Listen, bitch. I don't want you to call me out on my bullshit, okay? Not in front of the children.
This is an appropriate example of an educational moment.
What a twat. Anyway, that's it for today's episode, guys. So I hope you enjoyed. We're trying out camera angles, so let us know what you think.
We're learning. We're growing. Be
Yeah.
kind.
So we had a very old camera that is very old, and anyway, so like we had a very old camera, and it showed not so great quality. So if you're just listening to this, I'm sorry. This segment of the podcast is going to be boring to you. But so we're trying out camera angles. We're trying out cameras in general. So let us know what you think about this viewing angle. We're gonna try some other things, see how we feel, and yeah. But what do you guys think about cancel culture? Do you think that it works? Do you think that it's worth it? Do you think that it's good for like the conversation starters
Yeah.
and
Do you think it has a legitimate
or a purpose?
purpose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, let us know what you think in the comments down below because we now have a YouTube channel where we have comments down
Woo!
below. I mean, we had a Facebook, but people wouldn't comment down below. So maybe YouTube will.
Maybe. Share.
Yeah.
Don't just hit the like button or say that hey, that was great. Tell other people that you think it's great.
Yes.
Because that's really what's going to get this ball rolling.
But yeah, like let's keep the conversation going, and I think that's like a constant. Wow.
We're just going to go. We're going to pack it in. We're going to pack it in. And cut.
No, not cut. Not cut. I want to keep the conversation going, but that is a trending theme. Thank you. That is a theme that I want to keep going in all of our different episodes and everything is just like keeping the conversation going no matter what we're talking about.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So fuck you. All right, love you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.